Since Josh Heupel arrived on Rocky Top and made his mark on the program, the greatest change came within the culture and the attitude of its players. Now, ahead of senior day against UTEP, seniors like Amari Thomas played a key role in that change. I'm Paige Dower. This is the Field Pass on Full Disclosure. The shift in the Tennessee football program was probably at its most obvious in 2022, which is truly a testament to Josh Heupel and the type of coach that he is in just his short time on Rocky Top. In the midst of NCAA investigations, that he was able to turn this program around and get a 10-win season, 11 when they went on to win the Orange Bowl against Clemson. That was when it was obvious that there was a true shift in this team. And it might be what happened in 2023 and what's happening now in 2024 that makes it unrecognizable to those 2010s types of teams. One, because of mindset, and also because Josh Heupel was coming in to Tennessee during and amidst a NCAA investigation. And it's really how those teams are handling these losses that, one, maybe the fan base or the team itself is not expecting to lose to, and how they're losing to these teams regardless of the opponent. But even if we take this season and their loss to Georgia, I'm sure many of us had Tennessee finishing maybe 10-2, maybe 11-1, but we all thought like the loss would be a good loss. That loss to Georgia was confusing and it was disappointing because of how they lost. And maybe teams past would have found a way to spin it as a moral victory, right? Because, hey, Georgia and Alabama, they're the gold standard of college football. And, we played tough for a quarter. We played tough for a half. But that's not how Tennessee football is operating in 2024. And we heard it first from Josh Heupel. He said those qualifiers and those justifications on why we lost and, hey, we're close to the measuring stick of Georgia or the measuring stick of Alabama. He said that's in the rear view mirror. We don't view these losses that way. We're disappointed with the loss. We go out there expecting to win every game that we play in. And that's exactly the type of mindset senior Amari Thomas wanted to embrace when he was figuring out what college he wanted to play at.
I know when I picked a school, I wanted to be a part of something that was going to change and going to head in the right direction and become an elite program. And Tennessee was everything that, and we just continuing to grow. And that's where we want to continue to go, is just be a good program, good people, good culture.
Players like Amari Thomas or even Brew McCoy, who's been here now for 3 seasons, that play a key role in continuing to build and bolster the culture here at Tennessee. Josh Heupel will emphasize it time and time again that while, the coaches are out on the recruiting trail, it all ends, their recruiting efforts end with the players that are in the locker room. They kind of, seal the deal for a lot of these recruits. And that's something that Brew McCoy has really embraced, not only, having Knoxville feel like home and enjoying his time in the locker room as some of the things that he'll miss, but now he finds that he's able to help mentor younger players because of the culture that they've built here at Tennessee.
I wasn't around for prior coaches, and I didn't really see too much of Tennessee's prior records. But I know that when I got here in 22, the standard stopped being, we might win. It's we expect to win. And I think following that in 23, we had an expectation to win, and that bar got pushed a little higher and then a little bit higher this year to the point where no one's thinking about 2020, 19, even 21 necessarily. It's this new standard of Tennessee should be in the SEC championship, should be competing for championships every year.
Now, all of that really brings us to senior day on Saturday against UTEP, where a number of these seniors will run through the tee for the final time in the regular season. For a lot of them, it's something that really hasn't even sunk in yet, right? Because you're so in the daily grind and the day-to-day work of getting ready for the next opponent that sometimes it is hard to kind of like force yourself to pause and reflect. And when we do ask them and kind of, put them in a position during press conferences where we're like, hey, I do want you to actually stop and think, and I want you to tell me a memory that you're going to cherish once you leave here. That's kind of exactly what I did with Miles Kitzelman as he's, talking about getting ready for senior day, getting ready to go through the tee for the final time. And they all kind of say that they know it's going to be emotional, and there are all very different things that they're all going to cherish once their time here at Tennessee's done.
I wish I had a lot more time here in Knoxville. It's a great place. I've enjoyed my time here a lot. But yeah, I'm just really excited to go out there and play in Neyland, hopefully not for the last time.
And it's players like Omari and Bru McCoy that kind of help install that next iteration of players at Tennessee. And even so much now that Bru McCoy is kind of acting as a little bit of a mentor for a freshman wide receiver, Mike Matthews. They both came out of high school as 5 stars, and Bru McCoy will tell Mike Matthews, my college career took a different path than what I was expecting when I first came into college, and now transferring and being here a part of the Tennessee Volunteers. And it's kind of a similar sentiment that he tries to instill with Mike Matthews. It's like, you might not be getting all the opportunities you thought you were going to be getting, but there's a balance of being patient, but also being ready for when your number is called. And his ability to kind of take on that mentorship role or just feel like he can offer his advice to other players, he actually says comes from the wide receivers coach and Kelsey Pope, who he calls one of a kind.
Being so far from home, far from family, you look for men in your life that can give you guidance on and how to live right, do right, things like that. And he's been instrumental in that for me. But as far as development, man, he's one of a kind. Like, you won't find a coach that cares more, pours more into his guys, more attention to detail. Never takes a day off and doesn't let you take a day off.
And it's that connection in the locker room and between the coaches and his own teammates that has Bru McCoy calling Knoxville not only his second home, but just his home in general.
And really, this is like my first home. So like, I'm a kid from Southern California, and now whenever someone's like, "When you going home?" I'll be talking about going back to Knoxville, and man, it's a very special place to me.
So for this group of seniors, who for a lot of them have been here just as long as Josh Heupel has, it'll certainly be an emotional Saturday afternoon as they run through the tee for the final time for their senior day against UTEP here, at least in the regular season, because that is something a lot of them mention, that they hope they have plenty more games to play, especially if they can win out maybe this little chaos elsewhere that helps punch their ticket into the college football playoffs. But following the senior day against UTEP, myself and Jimmy Himes will have our post-game report that airs Sunday morning. I'll also post some YouTube shorts. You can also follow me on Twitter at Paige Dower FDP. I also posted a ton more on Twitter as well if you're kind of wanting more up-to-date in the moment kind of content. I certainly do that there as well. But on YouTube Shorts, which is just on the Shorts Home tab page, I also make sure to post a lot of game day type of interaction, as well as you can kind of feel like you're there in the moment with me as well. But yeah, an emotional day I am surely expecting it'll be for senior day, and kind of really for the full team, this being the last regular season game at home before they take on Vandy in Nashville next week. So it'll certainly be, a really good game, and another season where they could potentially reach a 10-win season. So definitely still a lot to play for. But thank you so much for watching. As always, like, subscribe, engage, all the good stuff, and I will talk to you all on Sunday.